It began on a cold February morning in 1974, a small town in Mississippi, where the wind cut through the streets and the sky was pale with winter. People went about their routines, unaware that something extraordinary and terrible was about to happen. The Carter family lived quietly on the edge of town. A father who worked long hours in the lumber mills, a mother who stayed at home to care for their only son, and that son, a 6-year-old boy who observed more than he spoke. He was polite and well-behaved, but distant, preferring to sit alone and draw maps or shapes in the dirt instead of playing with other children. On that morning, the mother woke before sunrise, preparing breakfast and her husband's lunch. She was last seen at 7:20, standing in the kitchen, washing a single mug. Minutes later, the boy stepped outside, sitting silently on the porch, watching across the yard as if waiting for something or someone. By 7:48, she had vanished. No scream, no struggle, no sign of forced entry. When the father returned around noon, the house was quiet, the dishes dry, and his son sat at the table eating soggy cereal. When asked where his mother was, the boy simply shrugged. The police were called. The boy was questioned. Gentle voices coaxed. Kind words offered. But the answers did not come. Days passed, and he said nothing. Psychologists would later suggest memory suppression, shock, or fear. The father insisted the boy knew something he had witnessed but could not comprehend. Search parties combed the nearby woods, creek beds, and abandoned areas. Dogs could not follow a scent. The sheriff later described the search as like looking for smoke in the wind. There were no footprints, no blood, no evidence. The silence in the house screamed louder than any noise ever could. The town began to whisper. The mother had vanished, but the boy's silence became the centerpiece of the mystery. Churchgoers, neighbors, and friends speculated endlessly. Some wondered if she had run away. Others feared something far worse. Everyone agreed. The boy knew something, though no one could know what. On the 8th day, a visitor from the church noticed the boy's drawings. Maps, squares, circles, lines that formed shapes no one else understood. When asked, the boy whispered only one word: barn. The following day, search teams returned to the barn. It was empty, dusty, abandoned. No sign of life, no footprints, no evidence. Yet the detective pressed on. He asked the boy to draw again. Another whispered word: before. The barn was not the destination. It was a place where something had occurred. Before. Weeks passed. The mother remained missing. Investigators combed every record, spoke to neighbors, and pieced together fragments of memory. The boy drew more lines, more shapes, more maps, but the meanings remained obscured, locked inside his mind. The town grew uneasy. Then came a letter, delivered anonymously to the sheriff's office. It was typed, precise, and chilling. The author claimed knowledge of the disappearance and hinted at debts, hidden crimes, and oaths that bound men together in secrecy. The Carter brothers, the letter suggested, were involved in something larger, something the town had never seen. Investigators began to dig into local records, discovering a pattern of disputes over gambling debts, threats, and small crimes that had escalated quietly over years. The letter described 11 men who had disappeared over months, their fates hidden from the public, and it warned that the events of that February morning were only the beginning. The boy, still silent, was the key. Every word he whispered, every map he drew, revealed another layer of a mystery that no adult could fully comprehend. He became the living memory of events that the adults could not see. His small voice, his quiet presence, held the secrets of men who had taken blood oaths and crossed lines that no law could fully track. As days turned into weeks, the investigation deepened. Detectives revisited homes, barns, and riverbanks. Each search uncovered small clues: a footprint partially washed by rain, a torn scrap of paper, a faint mark in the dust. Each clue led to more questions than answers. The Carter brothers had vanished from public view, but their influence lingered. Everyone remembered them as quiet boys, sons of a sharecropper. No one suspected the depth of their actions, the coldness of their methods, or the way history had already begun to hide them. By the end of the first month, the mother was still missing. The boy had whispered only a handful of words, and the town of Brookhaven had settled into a tense, fearful silence. Newspapers barely reported the story. Officials downplayed the events. But the truth waited, patient, hidden in the boy's mind and in the cold corners of the Mississippi woods. This was the beginning of the blood oath, the beginning of the story that would come to define a small town, the beginning of a mystery that would not fade. And it all started with one mother, one boy, and one February morning that no one in Brookhaven would ever forget.